I think it's time that DEFCON 3 be declared on Wall Street. The S&P is below 3,600 for the first time in quite some time, closed on the lows of the day, opened this morning, up from yesterday, and yesterday, of course, was an up day, and just kept, well, actually very early on, cratered down to 3,600, and then, in the last half hour or so, last hour, cratered down even further to 35.83. Every U.S. Treasury bond is now yielding over 4%, save for the 30-year, which is at 3.99%. So by Monday, we could be looking at every U.S. Treasury bond, and by a bond, I mean anything that is 1 year or greater in maturity. There are U.S. Treasury notes, that being debt that is matures in less than a year, that is yielding below 4%. And it's the short-term stuff that tends to get used a lot more by financial institutions, kind of as money substitutes. You take these big, these Treasury notes that are short-dated, that are, denominated highly, in high U.S. dollar denominations. They trade essentially as dollar bills. At least that's kind of the idea. That's why they're used in trade. As you move further out the curve, these bonds are less used in financial transactions directly. And so I think that the people who are talking about the Fed doing an Operation Twist sort of scenario are probably going to end up being proven right. Operation Twist is when the Fed sells the short end of the curve and buys the long end of the curve. And so this will be, this will give more supply of that short-term debt that is used by the financial institutions. It will ease liquidity problems, and it will push down the cost of long-term debt for the U.S. federal government. At this point, 4% on the 10-year, to me, is a very, very bad situation for the federal government. Now, I don't exactly want the federal government to have a good time. I think that it's good that they're in a bad position, because if the 10-year and and the whole yield curve, if it's sustained above 4% like this, the U.S. will be driven into bankruptcy. And that would be fine by me, but it looks like Britain is going to get there first. Kwarteng, the first, I guess they called him the first black, I can't remember the term, like senior cabinet official in the United Kingdom. I think there are 3 cabinet officials that are considered to be, bigger than all the other ministers. That, of course, being the Prime Minister, the Chancellor, which is what Kwarteng was, Chancellor of the Exchequer, and then there's one other one, I can't remember what. But anyway, despite that, he only lasted like a week at the job. Anyway, he's being made the fall guy for the fall of Great Britain. Liz Truss will be next. She's terrible. I've been listening to the Duran, which they had some extra insight. I could have told you that Liz Truss was terrible on my own. But Alexander, not to be confused with Alex of the Duran, Alexander of the Duran, he is of the opinion, and we'll see if this pans out, but he's much more of an authority in British politics than I certainly am, that Liz Truss will be out within a week, and that the plan is not just to get rid of her, it is to install Keir Starmer, the ever so charismatic leader of the Labour Party, who replaced that terrible anti-Semite Jeremy Corbyn. And Alexander's of the opinion that the Bank of England is conducting themselves essentially purposefully creating this crisis just to get rid of Truss and Kwarteng and to install Keir Starmer. Now, I don't know about that. It wouldn't surprise me. It's certainly the kind of thing that, I would suggest would happen here if there was a similar set of events. But again, I don't know enough about British politics to independently confirm that. I would suggest you guys all go over and listen to the Duran directly to learn more about that, but I thought it was interesting enough to bring up. So I think it's safe to say that the rally yesterday, as it appeared at the time, really was just short covering after all. That's why they call it the slope of hope. Every time that the shorts cover, all of a sudden the bulls who are still hanging on, they get a little bit of hope and they go, oh my gosh, things, we've bottomed, things have turned around, and then everybody goes back short again. So at this point, as I said yesterday, or was it the day before? Gosh, the days blend together. I don't see a way out. Things only got worse today. The destabilization of Britain, I mean, this really is a regime change operation. The idea that you could have a government come in and then fall within, what has it been, a couple of weeks? And then, hell, you look over here at the U.S., I think that the Fed will not backtrack until the collapse has already begun. And at that stage, I don't know what the hell they're going to do to try and put a floor in the market. I mean, if things keep getting worse and worse, at a certain point, going back to 0% interest rates and restarting QE, I would have to think it's just not going to be enough. We are not in the position that we were in back in 2008. We're in a much, much worse position if things start to come apart. Housing prices are more inflated. Stock prices are still more inflated. Bond prices, I believe, still more inflated. And then we have the prospect of nuclear Armageddon, which I have to say, is this saga between Musk and Ukraine is getting quite interesting. Musk has now cut off internet to Ukraine with Starlink. He said, you know what, hey, you guys are going to treat me like shit, and then, you think you're going to get internet for free? No, you got to pay up. And the Ukraine apologists are trying to spin this as Elon lying, because apparently he had asked the Pentagon a month ago that hey, I don't want to keep doing this for free. You guys should throw some cash my way so that I can keep giving free internet to Ukraine. And now they're acting like, oh, well, this has nothing to do with the way that Ukraine treated him, and has nothing to do with that idiot, what was his name, Molduck, or something with an M, that ambassador to Germany who worships at the altar of that World War II Nazi from Ukraine. Now I can't even remember his name. Bandera, that's it. So there was this Ukrainian ambassador to Germany, big fan of Bandera, which, when you have the ambassador to Germany be a big Nazi or be a big fan of a Nazi, it's a bad look. And so this guy, he told Elon Musk to F off, and in the words of Elon Musk, he's just taking his advice. He's going to F off. And yes, I'm sure Elon Musk wanted money before this, but he hadn't stopped service, now had he? He hadn't cut them off entirely. He hadn't said, you know what, no, we're done. Now he has. You know why? Because you pissed him off. Sure, he wanted money the whole time and wasn't getting it, but he was going to keep running these losses, which he estimates to be around $20 million a month. Now, who knows if that's true? I don't take Elon Musk at his word. I have distrusted him long before this war in Ukraine, but I think in this case, he is the more reliable source. He is the more trustworthy person when you compare him to the Pentagon or the Zelensky regime, which is an extension of the Pentagon and the State Department. And frankly, I don't think that Elon Musk had a choice in the matter to begin with, because SpaceX, which Starlink is a part of SpaceX, I believe, they are a government contractor. I don't think that SpaceX, which loses a lot of money anyway, would really have any money coming in if it weren't for the government. So when you are a government contractor like that, you're an extension of the regime. And so whether Elon liked it or not, I think he was probably given orders to do this. So considering that, it's even more significant that he would cut off service, or at least he's saying he's cut off service. We don't know. I haven't seen total confirmation that all of Starlink is down. Now, I'm sure the Russians have been doing their best to shut down Starlink in Ukraine, so there are certainly outages, but I don't know if the whole thing is turned off. I have to say, at this point, I think that a financial crisis would only make sense. It would only make the rest of society feel like it was less out of order. You know, it's kind of everything else in the world is completely upside down. Why isn't the financial system collapsing? That's what I want to know. You know, Elon Musk is getting, has been excommunicated by the liberal left. You have Tulsi Gabbard, who has left the Democratic Party because they're a bunch of neocons. You know, Tulsi Gabbard, who just a few years ago was a high-ranking DNC official. I remember when Tulsi was that high in the Democratic Party, and when the Democrats themselves thought Tulsi was a great rising star. You know, and it's not like Tulsi's changed that much. And even back then, you know, even the World Economic Forum, was trying to co-opt her, and they awarded her something. And now she too, even though I don't think she's changed that much, she's been completely excommunicated. Kanye West has been excommunicated. The guy who said George Bush doesn't care about black people. One of the most mainstream personalities in American culture, certainly when I was growing up. Now he's been canceled. He's been debanked. Kanye West debanked. And the list goes on. This is all just within the last couple days, like since Monday. Or I guess, I think Kanye was debanked on Monday or Tuesday. Tulsi, I believe, left the Democratic Party this week, I think. All the days blend together. And, of course, the whole Elon fight thing has come to a head this week. So, with all that said, I will see folks back here tomorrow.